Dan here, D Speed Shop, home of the overpriced hot rods, case in point. Anyway, a few days ago, a week ago maybe, we picked up that little racy 327. Like, it's over there, double wrapped, really taking care of it. You know, when you actually pay money for something, I'll take care of it for like 15 minutes. Anyway, so that's gonna be kind of motivated to work on this 64. So 64 Chevy 2, straight 6 automatic, plain Jane, but it's kind of growing on me. You know what I mean? And where we left it, I know I've been bouncing all over the place, don't get me wrong, I'm having trouble getting motivated on this thing for some reason, so I'm hoping I can dive into it. We gotta fix the inner like trunk drop down. I think it's the last bit of rust actually on the car we gotta deal with. Might be some floor stuff we have to kind of seam seal and paint. This tank I bought it a while ago, so I cleaned it up, took it to work, kind of got all steam cleaned out, painted it black so it's ready to go in. More importantly though, a lot of Rock Auto stuff showed up. So that's pretty bitchin'. We ordered drums and all sorts of stuff like that. So I ordered front drums. I got the cheapest possible ones because I'm pretty sure we're gonna axle this thing. And then the rear stuff, name brand as per usual. I got the front end stuff, strut rod, bushing stuff. The thing I can't find is center link bushing. So we'll have to play with it. Hopefully there's not a whole lot of play in it. Just, you know, for a little bit of driving. We got brake hoses front and back, rear shocks, front shocks are inside still, and these are rear brake shoes. What else do we got? I think that was pretty much it. So a little bit of love is needed yet, but nothing too serious. People were mentioning in the previous video that they think this little spring perch deal was all sacked out, and there's a bushing in there. I guess I could probably have the light to show you. This one is not. It's metal. It's like a metal bushing or a bronze bushing in there. So I mean, it wasn't all sacked out. Didn't have a lot of play, so it was fine. Tie rods are kind of mediocre. So there's a little bit of plane steering. I'm gonna see what it is. I don't think the thing is completely sacked out. I'm hoping it's just a steering box adjustment. Maybe we'll do that. It's gonna be just a lot of screwing around. We're still waiting on glass rubber. That's a hassle. But realistically, once we get the rust kind of taken care of, rebuild the rear brakes, put the tank in, run some new fuel line and a new brake line, should be driver-ish. And then we got to go through all the little crap. Wiper motor and heater motor, all that stuff. And give a tune-up to the hot rod or the motor. Probably have to redo the carburetor. There's going to be a lot of stupid stuff like that. Lights, whatever. But I'm hoping next couple of videos, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos, be a runner driver, get it inspected, hang plates on it, let Danny drive it, make sure she frickin' likes this thing, because as of right now, we're in it for all the money. I'd take a third mortgage on the frickin' house. I can barely afford it. But if it's a runner driver, it's still, you know, midsummer, we can flog this thing down the road if she decides she don't want it. And then I can save that motor and all that stuff for myself. I was talking to Speedway about the front axle kit. They currently don't have the axle in stock, but they're talking like August they're going to start making those. So actually should work out pretty good for my timeline if we decide to go that way. Because what man shouldn't build, you know, 327, you know, Gasser 64 Nova for his old lady for her first car, race car, really. I don't have a race car. I've never had one. She might as well have one. Clearly I know what I'm doing, but yeah. Throw some boxes out, get some of this stuff moved. We'll start working on something. Front to back, back to front, I don't know. So I decided we go front to back. First things first, I took apart the steering box, packed full of grease, and I put some adjustment in it. It's, it's about how much play we have before it kind of runs the wheel, so I don't know. But it's definitely, it's all that is in the steering box. I'll have to go in there and take a look at it and see maybe there's something else I can play with, but I think she just might be wore out, which is a bit of a pain as I'm finding out these early Novas is hard to find junk, but such is life. Next we're going to pull out those strut rods real quick, which is very simple. Let's grab a light here. There's going to be 2 bolts on the control arm. And then that nut right there, we'll pull that off. We got to clean those threads up. That'll be our caster adjustment, but we'll pull that out real quick. And we should be good. Yeah, I should get someone to work the wheel underneath it just in case it's the center link or something like that's wore out. But I'm pretty sure the steering itself is actually pretty good. So steering box. I'm sure that'll be cheap and easy to find. Zip these out. Impact. So the strut rod is a 1-inch nut, but I don't have a 1-inch deep socket, or I can't find it. And the wrench goes on, obviously, but it's got a lot of play in it. So, let's see if we can just put a little heat to it. We're not going to cut it. We're just going to warm it up. Whew. That's very gross. She's sizzly. We got her. It's not going my way. So this stupid nut heated up. We had all sorts of fluid on it, back and forth a bunch with the impact, and we got to the point where unfortunately it was twisting the rod, so the impact didn't have enough anvil to kind of go. So I started threading it out with the breaker bar, and now we've stripped it. So that's a bummer. So let's go ordering some of them. Oh, Murr's here.
Talking to yourself? Just the rest of the world?
I'm losing it, man. It's nighttime. So there was some butchery, so I cut that nut off with a torch. Frustration took over. So this is what happened. Obviously, it's just light too bright, maybe. So this end of the threads is really not too happy. Now this one here, it's supposed to have like a little sleeve. It wasn't even in there, so that's handy. But if you look at this one, that's where the sleeve rides, and then the rubber would go on, and then the shiny part is where the nut was. So there's that much of threads that we don't actually need. And if you see I guess it's the old nut, but basically there's a nut's worth of thread sticking out. So there won't be as much adjustment, but I think we'll, unfortunately I don't have a tap to clean that up. So that's gonna be our next battle, is figuring out if we can get a tap, maybe at the Amazon one, and see if I can clean that up. Because realistically, if I can clean the beginning of the threads up, there's a little whoop-de-doo missing, and then whatever. Probably best you don't have it. Well, I guess it's not terrible. Anyways, I gotta find a tap. But those are out now, so that's good. The next thing we're gonna do before we go to bed here, it's getting late, but I want to keep giving her. Ouch. I put a little oil on these lines. I'm gonna see if I can. I should probably just rip it out. But oh yeah, I got new shocks. I gotta do shocks tonight while we're at it, and change the rubber line, and then I don't know if I'll make a line. It's not actually look as bad as I was thinking they would be. If that'll come out, that'd be nice, but I don't have very high hopes. Put new brake line, put the rubber light on, put it into the wheel cylinder, then we can put the front drums on, and essentially the front end is as done as it's going to get with the parts we have. Then it just needs strut rod taken care of, and I feel like the steering box is going to come out, so I can probably take it apart and maybe put some more adjustment in it, possibly. It doesn't feel bad, so it just needs adjusting, I guess. What a hassle, these old cars, you know, like, come on, it's a 64, barely any miles on it. But clearly this thing has a pile of miles on it. I thought it was a little more low mile than it was. Obviously it's got 120 or 220 or 320,000 kilometers, miles. But we get the front end done tonight, then tomorrow I want to do that quarter section, fuel tank in, run the lines, and go from there. I moved the fuel jug because as I was torching, I was like, what's this solvent jug doing there? I'm like, oh man, that's the fuel line. So move that for safety. I'm an idiot. Well, it's very late. It's like 11:30. I just kept working because I was torching, and you know, just in case some little bushing or whatever was kind of still crackling away, I kept jamming. All the batteries are dead. Tonight just wasn't a good night. So this is one of those learn from my mistakes, and I'm learning a lot. Like I've done, well, I mean, Tri-5s like crazy and Chevelles and all that sort of stuff. I've never, and even Novas, but later stuff. I've never done this style of front end, and I'm learning a lot, such as take your time and don't F it up, because it's hard to find stuff for these stupid cars and you pay through the nose. So lesson learned. But anyways, we gotta, hoping I can clean those threads up and those strut rods. I did work over here for a bit, so we got a brand new shock absorber in there. That's pretty good. We got a new brake line. I just flared a new line for there, and we have a new drum on. So that's pretty much that. I mean, if I didn't bone those strut rods, look at that one. We gotta charge this stuff up top, so obviously the shock just goes through. I haven't touched that side. We're gonna start that tomorrow. You know what? I'll set the camera up and we'll go through the whole kit and caboodle on that one. Pretty simple, brakes. Tomorrow I'm gonna get some new nuts. We'll see if we can accomplish that. What I might be able to do is just get a nut and cut some slits in it and see if I can turn it into a tap to kind of clean up some of the threads. And then I do have to clean this up so we can run this nut all the way back. You know, that nut's actually half the size. Well, 2/3. I'm probably gonna have trouble finding a long nut at the old bolt supply, but whatever. If we can get this back in, that would be bonus, but I don't want to just impact that in. I wonder if I should zip cut that off and then kind of clean the, you know what, I'm going to sleep on it. Lesson learned there. We got that, so we'll do the brake line. How does this go? It just tees off. So we can run a new brake line to the back pretty easy. Really? Tonight was a snafu. You got to power through it. Tomorrow, I have the feeling that it'll just kind of fall together. I'm hoping we'll have the front end, the brakes all kind of dialed. Steering box stuff come out at a future date. I'd like to get the rear end done. Shocks, brakes, fuel tank in, maybe the bumper on, make it look like a car. I'm beat. I'll see you tomorrow. New day. So you know that meme where it's like, F around and find out? I'm fixing to find out. Now, I thought I could just get a new nut and maybe, you know, cut it and do whatever I have to do. Like, you can kind of make your own tap if you kind of cut the threads. I thought, just fix everything up. Well, as it turns out, this is 11/16 fine thread, which is very rare. So, of course, I went around. No one has any nuts or anything like that. So, that's a problem. I found something. Speedway has some nuts and stuff like that, but everything's like a couple weeks away. So I got a little want ad out, see if maybe someone has a strut rod. I mean, I just need like a junk strut rod off a junk car, and we can make this work. So, lesson learned. Take a little bit of time when you're taking stuff apart. The one side, I don't know if last night I was pretty frustrated, but there's a lot of penetrating oil and heat, and I just took it off by hand, and it was no big deal. I mean, it was slow moving and all that stuff, which I probably should have done on the other one, but I think what happened was, look at that later. As I was impacting it, it was flexing or doing something, and no bueno. So there's a lot of sketchy things we can do to fix it. You know, there's some welding and all that stuff, but generally welding on suspension is probably not the plan. But we'll see what we have to do to just get this thing rolling. Strut rods aren't that much money. I think they're like $110 or $20. It's the time. It's always the time. I'd gladly pay that if there's one stock today and put it on. I wouldn't even worry about it. But currently, not the case. But we'll set up. We'll finish off the wheel cylinder and all that on this side. Move to the back. Pull the wheels. Do the back brakes. Put the fuel tank in. And maybe we'll see what we got for fuel lines. And if we're all done in there, maybe I'll put the... Oh, I got to weld in that inner core. I'm putting that off. We'll see what we get, but I just come from work. We got the whole night ahead of us. Okay, so the plan is I'll probably just remake this little line right here because I'm lazy and trying to get it off would be probably a nightmare. And I'm gonna just try and, oh, of course not. I'd like to just break it loose. Oh, there we go. Oh, actually it's gonna unthread. But typically these are always a nightmare. That one actually came out. Wow. Astonished I am. So we'll pull that out. Also pull this little clip here, which holds the rubber line. Just a little friction fit deal. Okay. Wow. It's going pretty easy. And now this. Kind of hard to show you here. You'll have to trust me. The brake line going into the wheel cylinder. I can just get a wrench on it. Okay, that's good. Wow. This is one of them things where yesterday this car fought me tooth and nail, and today it's gonna friggin' fall apart. Hot rods. Oh, what's going on here? Maybe not. It should just kind of come out. There we go. All in one. We'll just like I said, I'm gonna remake that line. This is now loose. Bada boom, look at that. So the reason we're replacing this is it's cracked, no good, and they're like $11. So that's that. Drum off, and we'll put the new shock in. Shocking. Pretty simple. They're a little different, but if I can figure it out, anybody can. So this is our new shock absorber. It goes through with a couple of new bushings. Obviously, the old one was junk. Ooh, that was loud on my ears. Now, it does come with this little kit. So the shock ends up obviously going in these kind of top strut tower deals. And then what we got going on here? Has these little rubber isolators. Yeah, which go into the upper control arm. Yeah, that's how it is. So we'll jam those on there. This just kind of finagles its way in. Now, it's a bit of a twofer. You have to get the bottom bolts as well as the top bolts all kind of locked together all at once. So I'll mess around with that just a little bit. We'll then make a line up top while we're here, and then we'll go back down in the wheel well and get everything finished off. Very simple job, but just kind of have to line up top and bottom at the same time. So we have ourselves a couple of brand spanking new fittings. So this is the line we're going to replace. Again, I mean, you know, you could probably be careful and take this all apart, but it's probably pretty roached. So we'll just kind of eyeball-ish about how much we need. So I'm going to say about there. Then we'll just make this line up real quick. Everyone always asks, like, this is a Master Cool kit. Eastwood has a kit for flare and brake lines. This is not copper line. It's nickel copper line, but it is rated for brakes. So don't worry, people always lose it when I do that too. This does mint. It does kind of corrode, and if it rubs against stuff, it will wear through. So you got to be careful with it. But it's very nice to work with. It doesn't kink. This is taking forever. It's very loosey-goosey and flexy. So I'm just going to go ahead and knock this line out real quick. and I'll see you under the car. Okay, I just want to show you one thing here before we get too crazy. So this has these little bushings, top, bottom. There's a little hole so they kind of fit in, and then you just tighten those up. There's one on the back side, and there's one there. Look at this, little grease fitting. Rubber bushings, they don't have grease fittings like that. So there you go, this is mint, there's no worries there. I put the line all together, but ultimately we'll have to take that in pieces. Thread this in first, the rubber line, because there's no swivel on it. We'll thread that in, it'll fit up in here. This little thing here kind of has a bit of a, kind of like a keyway. It's kind of like a 12-point looking socket deal. So when you put it in, it won't really spin. It'll hold it in place, and that's just held in place with a little clip. We'll have to do a little S-curve deal on this, and tighten up these little nuts, drum on, and we should be golden. On the other side, I did have to let the drums in a bunch, because the drum, no, what I did? Brought them, yeah, I had to bring everything in because the other drums are so wore out. So the new drums have more thickness. You gotta take that much thickness out of the adjustment, but this was all mint, came apart with no issues, which is a nice change of pace. So let's put this all together. So we have a new line. I actually had to remake this, I didn't make it long enough. Line there, new drum, shock is in, everything's good. Even though these bushings, they look kind of beat up, they're actually all in decent shape, so that's fine. I was looking, I think we can maybe adjust the steering box in another way, so I'm gonna have to take it all apart, but we'll do that down the road. I have some feelers out right now, just think if there's anything available, used and stuff like that, because you never know what pops up, right? Facebook Marketplace is like the gift that just keeps on giving, even when you don't need anything. So if I can just put a steering box and a couple of strut rods on this thing, she's a cherry. It's hot as hell out. We got a bunch of rain and now it's hot, so humid. I feel like we're down south. We'll get set up out back, and I gotta look at what that inner core looks like. That's gonna be the only hard part. Otherwise, it's straps for the fuel tank and a couple bumper bolts, which I'm not gonna have. We'll probably just put like 3/8 bolts in there, some washers, because we're classy around here at DD Speed Shop. There you go. Junk front end mostly back together. What a hassle. Well, I saved you the real ugliness of grinding the undercoating away from the trunk drop down. I mean, it's not a really structural piece whatsoever. It's just kind of there to kind of keep exhaust gases out and whatnot. So I made a little template out of cardboard, and this is all it is. It's going to be a little bend. Pretty simple. I just did that with my hand. The bottom I kind of cut to try and match the bottom of the core, which is a little wavy because it's got filler and all sorts of ugliness in it. And I marked these two here because what the factory panel has is like a little divot, just so it kind of gives it a little bit of strength. So I think we'll do the same thing. We're gonna divot down to about, half an inch or so. We are professional metal workers now at DD Speed Shop, so we might as well use all the tools we have. It won't be, I don't think, the exact same, but I have a decent sized little die on a hand crank bead roller. So we'll do that real quick and then set the camera up and ugly weld these things in, because it's going to be ugly old undercoating and stuff like that. Blah, it's no good. But realistically, stitch it in, seam seal it, undercoat it. It'll be fine. No one will know. And then I actually want to undercoat just where the fuel tank goes and also do it all at once. Maybe let that dry for a little bit. Then we'll slide the new fuel tank in. I do have to get a rad hose or something to join them, so it might just kind of be in there loose until I get that sorted out. And bumper on, and man, not too bad. We'll take a look at the rear brakes, I guess, while we're at it, see how it goes. But we'll see you in the other shop. Metal fab. Okay, so we're at the El Cheapo Princess Auto bead roller, which these are junk, so you have to, well, I think you don't have to, but I did. You weld on these braces to try and hold it from twisting and stuff. Essentially, we're going to use, this is a lot like, I shouldn't say a lot like, but it is like kind of English wheel. We're gonna put the metal between and sandwich it. And obviously we'll make that shape. Now what we're gonna do, we have enough room? Yes, we're good. So we want the divot to be kind of going downwards. So put our little magic piece here. Now put it on, and there's a little Allen key you can tighten up that goes onto a flat to kind of grab it. And there's a gear on the other side, so these things roll together. Just put this on real quick. And then this is a rinky-dink thing I made to push down. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. So there you go, them's... Oh, I guess I should... Oh, man. See, it's amateur hour here. There we go. Give this a quick snug. This is a bit of a pain. Mechanical versus... obviously, they have fancy electric ones and electric motor, and people modify these things to do that, and there's all sorts of doodads, but the amount I'm currently using, I believe this thing was on sale and cheap, so we're going to use the rare time I've had a big job, I just get Danny to kind of hold it or spin the wheel, sorry. Now there also is other dies if you want to do like a stepping die and all sorts of stuff like that, but we're doing none of that. So kind of get this about eyeballed up. Get it kind of started. Now this is just gonna bring it down. Oh, I'm hitting the English wheel. Kind of go there and back. That just gave us our first one, but you can see there's a bit of shape. Now it's gonna bend this, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to manhandle that back, but it will give a bunch of strength. So there's our new panel we just made. A couple little bends in it. We'll straighten this out. It's perfect, ready to be welded on. Whoa. I skipped ahead a little bit because this was a terrible job underneath the car, but I just kind of glued that panel in. So you can see actually my, what am I trying to go there? My little bends kind of worked out. Seam sealer, a little bit of undercoating. I did under the tank real quick. It's kind of ugly. And then over here was the real nightmare. For some reason, you can see by all the dust, somebody decided to use a pile of fiberglass instead of seam sealer. So I had to grind it all down. It wasn't even that bad. There was like a couple of little minor rusty things, but I mean, it was fine. So I ground most of it off and then just seam sealed it and shot it black. So what a nightmare that was, but what are you gonna do? Whoever, oh man, I'm dirty. Whoever kept this car on the road, I do appreciate them. If it was maybe not the best way of doing it, hey, I'm not the best way of doing it either. It's getting dark, I've had enough of this. I'd like to slip the fuel tank in and put the bumper on real quick here. And I don't know if I'll end the video there. We'll try and do something tomorrow real quick, but it's been ugly. This is a real ugly job. It's the next day. It got really hot last night. Well, it was still hot. And then I was torching the section, like this, off. And it dropped, and instinctively I grabbed it and burnt my hand. So I called her a night. Anyways, today we're gonna put the bumper on. We're probably gonna hang the fuel tank, get those both dialed. I think I'm just gonna kind of put them in there. Again, I didn't get a rad hose like an idiot. I put it on my phone and everything, I forgot. So I don't know if I have anything. So we'll put it in loose, but it'll be in there. Fuel tank, or the bumper was put in with a couple of same thing, just some nuts and bolts, nothing special. What I do want to finish today though is I want to put the front end back together. I've looked high and low for strut rod stuff, and it is 11/16 fine thread, which is impossible to find. But what the parts store did have was 5/8 coarse thread, which I'm pretty sure, is this bigger? No, it should be smaller, or roughly the same size. So, Mur okayed this. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a good. So the way this works, your strut rod fits in, you're gonna have your bushing, and then this is gonna be in the center of it. Now your adjustment, front and back, is only like 1 inch each way, and then obviously the centerpiece is what floats. So if I put this in where I want it, I'm gonna section a little bit of threads. I'm then gonna weld this on there real good, and then we'll hide it with that. Put a nut on the end, slap it back together, front end rebuilt. So that's the plan for today and the rest of this video. It's freaking hot the last couple days. Then the front end will be dialed. All we gotta do is steering box. The next video we'll do rear brakes, fuel line, brake line, make it run and drive, and hopefully put a freaking windshield in the back. Anyways, let's get set up doing this bumper and fuel tank, 'cause that's fun. Oh, go check out Danny, Glitter Chaos on YouTube.
Hey, Queen Glitter Chaos!
She's got me all fired up on the internet, answering stupid questions from adoring viewers. Not you though, her idiot fans, not mine.
At least get my name right.
Whatever. Okay, in position. So I had carriage bolts on my list today, which I did, and I was at the bolt supply house and I didn't buy bolts. Idiot. Hopefully we'll get this in. Oh. Is there rubber straps up there? There was. Yeah, that's it. Is there another one?
I don't really see one. Can I lift up the trunk, please?
Hang on, I'll just put this one in first. This is smart. Instead of having the second person help, we have them film the chaos. Is there a bug on me? Okay, I'm good. Oh man, what is happening? Maybe I should just get a floor jack, eh? I thought this would be funny, but it's just embarrassing. Oh! Nailed it. This is riveting TV. Okay, hang on. Okay. Safety nutted on there. I'll pull this on. I just gotta find. Oh. That would have been right in the junk, eh? Oh, I butchered it. No, I got it. There we go. Okay. Something's in my eye. Mint. Actually, this has a lot of flixy flop to it, so I can put a rad hose on there, no problem. Oh. Still has the old hose and duct tape on it. Okay. We got to you bend that back or something. Find another piece of rubber. We'll get this set in there. The car looks good, actually. Not the paint's all dried under here. Doesn't even look that butchered. Man, you got yourself a sweet race car here. I'm jealous. So, I kept some of the carriage bolts from the bumper. Some are pretty beat. Some of them, they got a little torchy. But I'm just going to hang it with a couple of bolts, 3/8 bolts, because this thing was hammered in this one corner. And I'm thinking we might have to do a little bit of modifications on this one bracket. But, damn it. Hopefully it'll just kind of go on there and look nice. Look at this bumper I got for you. Paid big dollars for it. Little bent. Little bent. Just go ahead and give it a little DD speed shop there. Ow. Oh, that's really on there. Maybe it's like a friction fit bumper? I want to whack it, but I feel like it's gonna... Wow. Things I was not expecting. Hang on. Can you just hold this for a second? Okay. Make sure this side is perfectly aligned. Okay. Let go. Not too bad. I don't even think we need the bolts in it. Oh. No, I didn't panic. You were scared. I wasn't scared. That's embarrassing.
I think maybe we need the bolts.
I'm working on it. This bumper was a stupid design to put on and off. You Chevy 2 guys, they're a weird breed that put up with this garbage. This is probably why they take the bumpers off for gas, or just it's a hassle to put them on. Okay, that's one. Hey, what do you think? It's friggin' cherry. It needs a bit of a bend down. It might just be because it's just not bolted in. Huh. I'm pretty impressed. So now we get to butcher the front end together. Man, do I wish I had a back window for this thing. I'm gonna go bug reg there again. This thing's mint. I think we'll do the butchering in the other garage on the hoist, or on the vise, sorry. So it's gonna get ugly. Precision amount of ugliness. I'll see you over there. Okay, so we got this thing heated up, but we got the nut kind of spinning nicely. Oh, that's hot. Anyway, you can see here how there's kind of a mark right there and a mark right there. It's kind of meh, no bueno. That's where this washer kind of rides. And then obviously we'll put this on there, hopefully not melt it. And you can kind of see, once it's squished together, right about there is where the other washer's gonna ride. Obviously these are gonna squish. These ones might not so much. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut right in the center of that, because in theory that's where the bushing will be, and there will be some movement back and forth adjustability in there. I mean, we're talking, you know, well, whatever we'll have, basically from that nut to the center, and then from wherever to where we weld it. So it should be pretty good. I think I might try and cut a bit of an angle and go from there. Now, we're gonna assume this is probably in and around the proper adjustment. For what we're doing, it'll be fine. We're just trying to get on the road to drive it a little bit to see if we should spend a bunch of money on that gas or front end and everything, right? Make sure Danny freaking likes this car. She says she does, but before I spend $3 grand, I like to make sure. And ultimately, if for whatever reason she doesn't like it, or leave it as it is or whatever, these are available. They're just a couple of weeks away, and they're only like $129 or something like that. So we could buy a pair of those, slam them in there, it'd be nothing to change. So don't panic. This is what we're accomplishing. We'll get the grinder out and we'll get this welded up. Real nice. And realistically, we'll try and keep it straight as we can, but I don't think this will have a whole lot to do if it's not perfectly straight, because all we're trying to accomplish is from the center to the control arm, lower control arm, because as you adjust this forward and back, it moves this rod forward and back, which will in turn push the control arm forward and back, which is how you adjust your caster on these old hot rods, I think. Here's what I did. Cut at a bit of an angle so we get as much contact as possible. These are the same length. Honestly, it feels like this with the coarse threads, like the same almost size as that, but I beveled the edges, so we'll get her kind of lined up, give it a tack, crank the welder to 11, and weld the hell out of it, and see what happens. I did go on this side, so the bushing will ride, or did I put it? I mean, almost all of the bushing is going to be around the edge. Just the bottom corner, you can see it's pushed back a little bit there, so it's in line with that one. So it runs to about that line, so right there. It'll be fine. Oh, I don't know if I've said this or not yet, but I asked Murray what he thought about this idea, and he said, yeah, that's what I would do. So there we have it. Perfect. We still have some travel both ways. You got probably a 1/2 inch that way. That ends about there. So we can go a 1/2 inch or an inch or so either way. I think we'll be okay. That's what I say. Anyways, I'm going to just cool off. The other one I have to just heat up. Work this nut back and forth. That's all I did. Just wire brush, nut, back and forth, you know, an inch, and that was it. I'll put it back together, hang them on the car, and we're done. Not bad for we started off as a giant blender of a day. Well, just like that, it's dark out. You guys won't believe this. I lost one of the big washers. Shocker, right? Anyways, we got the front end, or the strut rods in. This one's the one I'm missing the washer on. Can you even see that? Probably not, eh? Idiot, where's the light? This is the problem now with working late. Let's walk to the back, maybe the light's there. Bumpers on, car looks cool. Oh, here we go, look at this. Ooh, we got 3 bars. Huh? She's coming along. So that's where we're gonna leave it for tonight. I have to obviously clean up. It's actually not that bad in here for me to lose something. So I don't know what I do with it. But that's what it should look like. Ooh, ah. This side. Ooh, ah. But even if I take this off, well, you can see, I guess I can show you. Threads go all the way past, so there's lots of room for adjustment yet if we need it, but I'm thinking it'll probably be fine. Everything is, you know, loose by finger, so we can adjust it all. Yeah, so I'm stopped for tonight. I'm gonna clean everything up. I went through this garbage actually, pull it all apart, make sure the washer wasn't in there. That's all got to go away. This whole working cleaner thing is kind of a hassle, but way she goes. Next video, do the back brakes. We'll plumb the fuel system. We'll run a new line. We'll bleed the brakes. Hopefully then we can, like, it'll run off the tank. Maybe I'll bolt the seats in. Finish off doing a little bit underneath. I'd really like to get running and driving and get over to that garage where we have the hoist, so it's much easier to get under there, paint, seam, sail, screw around, all that sort of stuff. That being said, I think I bought another car and I got to get that right away. So, you know, it's funny how it works around here at DD Speed Shop. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. As always, you guys are awesome. Help me out. Watching the videos, liking the videos, leaving comments, all those things help me get more views and more traction. And I waste that money on overpriced junk. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.